Con Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
If you don't define yourself, someone else will. Con, this is a pretty interesting conversation. We're going to ask you some questions. What do you stand for?
Well, okay, first of all, I wasn't prepared for that. Secondly, stand for what? Personal, business?
But what do you stand for?
In general in life?
You tell me the philosophy.
I believe in free will. I believe people have the options to behave in the way that they want to. I believe everyone has a choice and people can make their own choices. And I believe, generally in the goodness of most people. What I won't stand for is, the things that I've experienced, witnessed, or felt in my life. So things like domestic violence. My mum was a victim of domestic violence. So, I won't stand for anything remotely connected to that. But also I just won't stand for people just not treating other people with respect. So for me, that's such a big question, Josh. What do you stand for?
So, I stand for lots of great experiences. We're really helping people to go and achieve their potential. I love seeing the light globe go on for people.
Yeah.
I love seeing people open up to experiences. Without a doubt, I stand for professionalism in everything that I do, never wanting to do something that would end up on the front page of the AFR for all the wrong reasons. I want to make sure I give lots of opportunity. I create lots of opportunity for people. I want people to be able to say, hey, you know what, I spent some time with him and that really made a difference in either the person I became or I felt like I could, go and do things that I'd never thought of prior to that.
It's a great legacy as well. And I think we've got responsibilities as anyone in life that's a parent, friend, in business. I think we've got a big responsibility to be able to, I want to use the word legacy, but I don't want to use it in that way. Like for me, I'm on the same page. If I could have just 1 millisecond of someone's life that I've been able to positively impact them and help them, then I've done everything that I need to ever do in life professionally.
Con, what will you be known for?
Okay. First of all, I need the questions before, right?
I did.
No, you didn't. No, well, mate, you should tell me to read them.
Yeah.
What will I be known for? I'd like to be. Is this a eulogy moment? Is this like me coming out of, Yeah, well, mate, that's I'm 46.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't believe it. What I want to be known for, I want to be known for a good human being that gave everyone as many opportunities as that they could to have a great life, genuinely cared about people, loved his friends and his family, would take the shirt off his back, always ate last, would always go last, and more importantly, never did anything to anyone that would have an adverse impact, except the opposite. I think that would be pretty cool.
Man, it's amazing.
It's got nothing to do with real estate.
I'm not sure that the eating last bit.
But you know what I mean? I just want to be known as a humble, good human being.
Yes, but
that's it.
But the interesting thing is that in that question, what we'd be known for is that there's a choice, right? And it's either eulogy values or resume values.
Oh, eulogy, mate, not resume.
So resume values like, number one agent, sold $100 million
Zero
properties, XYZ. And then the conversation around eulogy values is that, what will they say?
Yeah.
And at that funeral, he sold the best vendor paid marketing.
He had the block record in the
but you don't have it.
No.
But starting to think about what you're going to be known for. And so this is up to you to be kind, to be caring, to create opportunity for others, to help disadvantaged, to pull other people up.
Yeah, lift them up instead of tearing them down.
To assist people to do that. And really, when you think about definition, if you're not doing real estate, what would I find you doing? And so one of the things that I did is I really worked out, your career becomes a large portion of your identity. And then people will be like, yeah, but you're not your career. And I'm like, yeah, but, if you really love what you're doing, there is no separation. And so the lesson here is that, if you don't find me doing real estate, what will you be doing?
Yeah.
So if I'm not doing real estate training, you will find me on a motorbike, on a sauna, hanging out with great friends, being at great restaurants, reading great books, being creative, drawing things up. You saw the level of energy when I was showing you that project just before about something. And that whole thing about it is that literally it's up to you to define you and not for someone else to define.
Yeah, but I also think that I've known you for a long time now. The version that people see on stage, the version that people hear on podcasts, is exactly the same version when you're in your trackies at my house and we're having a barbecue.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important too. I think what you said is absolutely spot on, is that, your career doesn't define you, but geez, man, how blessed are we to be able to work in these environments and, have great relationships and friendships, whether they're at work or with the clients that you get to serve. I just think what will you be known for is a really important question when you're coming to your life plan.
So do you think that you'll be known as someone who's like serious or funny or happy and energetic or slow and lethargic? Like they're all choices, right?
They are all choices, and you get to make the decision to decide every morning what version you want to bring.
So it's interesting because when the great Sue McCarthy over at Kangaroo Health Retreat did the numerology on me, and she said like influences by the number 2 and 3, and you're in a position that you're ruled by the number 5. And I was like, okay, great. And so like number 5 is like, at my best, I'm a scribe, so I like to produce and write and do those things. But at my worst, I'm boring.
Right.
And so like, and it's very possible that I could be super boring in a conversation.
No, you're not.
But I can be.
Yeah.
And so and then one of them was about, okay, great. You can actually be a showman, or you can be a warmonger.
Gotcha.
And so like literally at my best, I'm a showman.
Yeah. At your
worst. At my worst, I'm a warmonger.
Right.
And I try not to have that side of myself come out very often, but when it does, whoo.
Ooh, yeah.
But then the next key thing is it then starts saying, okay, great. And she would say to me, and I was like, you can be really positive, or you can be extremely depressed. And I was like, and I said to her at the time, is it a choice? And she goes, yeah, it is. And I left that meeting thinking, the life is a choice, and
you're in control.
Yes,
not life is in control.
And so I get to define how I want to show up, and then start to think, more broadly in terms of definition. What are some of the decisions that you have made that you think have led to wild success?
Me personally,
yeah.
First of all, I don't think we've had wild success. I think we've had some good success, but not wild success.
Yeah.
Because I still think we're probably a quarter of the way of where we're going to get to.
But if I went and I showed 18-year-old Con today.
Yeah.
The success is beyond wild.
Well, 18-year-old Con had long hair, blonde tips, gold hoop earrings, and drove a V8 VK Calais.
Yeah, nice cut, nice choice. It's worth a lot of money, that car.
Now it would be. I would probably say a commitment to pushing all my chips all in.
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah. Backing myself in.
Yeah.
Like there was no one else who, gave me the job offer, or here's the thing, or you go do that.
No.
I just, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I'm just going to back it in. I think because of the way that, this is a very deep podcast, but I think the way that I grew up in my environment, we had a great, childhood and whatnot, but we had a couple of, things there that, probably impacted the way that I am and behave and how I think. I think that I've always appreciated an opportunity. If someone provided that to me, I've always worked as if I've owned it.
And run at it.
And always run 100%. I've never wanted to leave anything on the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I'd probably say it was just a commitment to go all in and really back myself and trust myself that I can level up.
And I think the decisions that, like if I look at it, led to wild business success was like having the power of great mentors, the power of reading, the power of having a problem and trying to work out how to figure it out, about learning cash flow and what it would look like. And no one ever taught those skills, and we didn't have all this amazing tech around us. But you know what? I think it was, my mum always said to me, the most beautiful thing you can ever have is a beautiful mind. A mind that has been developed, one that has been stretched, one that has been pushed, one that can learn to think, differently and creatively. And it's quite amazing because, sometimes I'll say these things and my parents will be in the room, and my mum has often pulled me up on that quote. She goes, I never remember saying that. But the interesting thing was the lesson that she taught was that.
Yeah, I totally get that. No, I have the same things with my mum and dad as well. But I think, geez, the definition of who you are, what do you want to be known for, what do you stand for, the choices that you make, the decisions that you take. I think, a good friend of ours, Damien Hackett, always says, that people at place have a learn-it-all culture, right? I think we tend to have those things too.
Oh, of course you do.
That we're the definition of who we are is we're still students. We're going to be students for the rest of our lives. And I think that innocence and curiosity and vulnerability are kind of what help us define who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a sweetness to that as well that that gives you a killer edge, by the way, because you're so curious. You're reading all these books, and you're dissecting all the best elements, and you're bringing it to the world. That's exactly right. So I think yeah, this is an important conversation.
Well, yeah, the thing about it, like I looked at it and like as an agent, like and you might remember we did this once where it's like, are you more opens or private appointments or auction or for sale or vendor paid or
the T-charts, yeah.
And so you would go like these little switches and imagine that. And I said, okay, great. So here you go. Today you get to define your business, define what you would like. Like I'll take that one and that one and that one and move it together.
Yeah.
And I was always like, I'm all in on digital. And in a lot of aspects, is there a cool app? Is there something else? Is there a piece of technology that can push the car to go faster? But then very interestingly enough, I'm all in on face-to-face. That if I can have a meeting face-to-face, I'd much rather do it than not.
Me too.
And I'm all in on, I might have good data, but it means nothing if it's not a relationship.
Yes. Correct. Completely agree.
And then beyond that, I'm all in on systems. So once, and the Ray Dalio conversation, when I find something that works, I stop, I worked out why it worked, and then I do more of it.
Yes. Yeah, correct. I think that the key there is obviously you're all in. And I think that's the important thing when you're looking at that next level of growth, professionally or personally. Like you might go all in on your health. You might go all in on your relationships. We're getting to an age now where these relationships really matter.
Sure.
So for me, like I'm all in. My Saturday run in between auctions, I'm calling, my mates and just checking in. How are you? How was your week? What's happening? What's news? When are we? That type of stuff. And I think that's really important because at the end of the day, what you'll be known for is the choices and the decisions and the behaviours that you make.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
Take the best parts and bring it back to your world. And I had a really amazing mentor at one point of a career transition. There was a guy by the name of Jonah Nader, and he said, you watch like a mother bird, it flies out, it takes all the best leaves and brings it back to build its nest.
Yeah.
And you should do the same.
Yeah.
So go and take all the best parts of all the things you see around the world and bring it back to build your own world.
Yeah, I like that.
And I just think about that, like constantly nourishing, constantly thinking about growth, constantly looking for different things to make your world a better experience for the time that you're going to be here on Earth.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think you do that really well. And I think we don't, in terms of agents and the agent community, do it well enough. Because you can see an agent or a business that's doing something phenomenally well, just pick up the phone and ask for, like that author, Stuart, who was it?
Stuart Levine.
Stuart Levine.
Cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase in New York, and you went and had lunch with him. What makes you think you can just call up an author and get, have lunch? Well, why? I didn't know I couldn't. Well, you can, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. An idea that's really rapidly shaping me right now is what's the gap between where you are and where you want to be? But really dissecting that and really looking at a perspective where you might need someone else to shine some light on those dark corners. So, for example, if you want to go from 50 sales to 100 sales, well, what's the gap? If you want to grow your property management portfolio, if you want to be able to run a marathon, I'm obsessed about the gap at the moment. It's my big thing.
Yeah, and that's and the thing about it is that like once you find it, you make a decision to go and do something with it. Right?
Correct.
And I think that like a lot of people probably just don't kind of go there, right?
Well, I think as well is they don't know where to ask for help or who to ask for help. And plus, they're probably not being vulnerable to say, hey, I need some help in these areas. My vendor management sucks, or, I don't really have a robust prospecting plan or commitment to doing it. And I think the more vulnerable and the more you share, the more it becomes crystallized and people want to help you generally.
And I think that's the big thing is like, make the decision, have a ton of fun with it. And like, this is your chance.
Yeah.
Like, to go and do it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Something that's changing your view.
Conquer the chaos. The power of personal discipline and focus.
Yeah, love it.
So, we're all on digital devices, learning to say for the next 45 minutes, just do this. And it's so funny, I found an album that one of the lead singers of Coldplay put me onto, which is called Rituals.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really slow but very melodic, like kind of like just like beat that just kind of slows you down. And I listen to that quite often when I'm doing a 45-minute clear of emails or 45 minutes of working on a project or 45 minutes of doing something on. And it's really interesting because it starts to get you to think like that power of presence and your ability to be in the moment rather than being in a position that something else is taking your driver. And so you just got to stay like super focused and learning how to do that and pay attention.
You know what's really cool about that is I watched a Phegan Tiny Desk concert.
Yeah, how good is that concert? Yeah.
Mate, you want to talk about someone that's so committed and obsessed with their craft.
Yes.
But did you see the joy on his face?
Yeah.
When he was pulling things together and he'd be like, yes, that's exactly how I heard it in my brain and now I'm being able to commit. That's like you're watching an artist at work.
Do you think that people have lost the ability to, like, in performance in what we do?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think we've outsourced too many elements of the entire, I don't want to say transaction, but the
Well, it is a transaction.
Well, I know,
but thinking about the experiences around the customer.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, mate. I think we have. We've desensitized ourselves and
Like, signing technology is great, but, you know, do you remember, like, actually going to someone's house and doing the deal?
What do you remember having a contract signed and saying, "Hey, we're only $20,000 apart. It's a signature for you to be able to move forward." So I do think we have, and I think there is something. There's something definitely in that to bring some of those elements back to create some wow moments for yourself, for your buyer, your seller, your landlord, your tenant, your business, your team. But I also look at it and I go, well, you know, are we just existing? Are we just turning up every day and doing the same things? And that's okay if that's what your goal is, you know.
But I think the job is that, like, getting to a position that you've got more experiences that are deeper.
Yes.
Like, less of them, but more deeper.
Yeah.
It was interesting. A good mate of ours, Ben Southwell, and I, we jumped on the motorbikes on the weekend and we went for a ride for a couple of hours. It's the first time for the season.
Wow.
So it's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, and we went and we did that and he rang me this morning. He goes, "Man, how good was yesterday?" I'm like, "It was the best." Like, out of everything that we can do, like, that 1 or 2 hours on the motorbike was a really unbelievable experience because we hadn't got to do it for a while.
There you go. So I think you know, peeling back the layers and the complexity of the way that we operate in life and in business, and sometimes just bringing it back to what's really important for this moment. And I think, you know, that I said it earlier, the power of focus. If you can nail that, then you're that's a super human gift that you've got.